Welcome to The Connection Code, the podcast where we explore the relationships that make your life and work just a little bit better.
Hi, I'm Rachel Gilman-Rischel. I am the founder of 3PR, a PR firm that's focused on healthy food brands that you should absolutely stock, like Farmer's Fridge and Siete Foods and Mush. But I also really love deep conversations and bringing people together.
And I'm Jeana Anderson Cohen. I am the founder of A Sweat Life, a health and wellness media company based in Chicago. And I've created, or co-created, I should say, Petite Acres, which is a boutique hotel and event space in New Buffalo, Michigan, with my husband. I'm pretty obsessed with gathering.
I love it. Okay, we have a really good guest today, which drove our question. And since we always start off with a big, deep ask, this one is, if great connections require time, can you forge connection magic quickly? Or do you need a lot of time to build a substantive relationship?
Rachel, okay, I've thought a lot about this because I took the week to think about this. I think there's a difference between connection and chemistry. I think you can have connection very, very quickly. And I think connection via chemistry very, very quickly. And I think that is possible through shared vulnerability, but also this sort of like magical other thing that is described as emotional chemistry. So you could know quickly, like, this person is on my wavelength, but you don't have a shared history or sort of a background of showing up for each other. So I think you can have that sort of universal tie to each other, but not necessarily be connected. What do you think?
So you're saying you can spark and feel really good and drawn to somebody.
Yes.
But the connection needs time to flourish.
Absolutely. It's like the difference between a crush and a marriage.
Ooh, that's the perfect terminology for me to wrap my head around it. Mm-hmm. I will build on yours because I was also thinking, because our guest worked at SNL for 20 years and a lot of her job was deadline compressed and you had to forge relationships really quickly with the guest that was coming in, I was like, how does that work? And I think the secret sauce is the amount of time you jam in between these constraints. So it's the way that you feel really bonded to people if you go on vacation together, if you go on a retreat, if you have some situation where you're basically living or cohabitating. Because remember The Real World when they talked about, what was the tagline, like, about you live together and you start getting real? I'm butchering it, but
these
you know what I mean?
the real stories of 7 strangers chosen
Stop
to
being
live in a
polite.
house. Yes, and start getting real.
So I think that's it, is that we can only keep up our pretense of being really well behaved and cordial and amazing for so long. And then if you're at camp or on a bus tour or on a retreat, something slips and the real you starts to emerge in a big way. So I think you can forge connection quickly if you spend a ton of compressed time together and you have to move outside of this is how I want to present versus this is who I really am. And when people can accept that and you can bond together in the real space, then you do have a quicker connection.
So Rachel, I was doing my best to both think a thought and listen while you were talking.
Story of my life.
I know. So while you were talking, I was like, holy shit, is SNL camp for just one person? Because it's like, when you roll up to camp, I went to a camp that was just 1 week long, and we would get there and there'd be staff who had just done all of the things we were about to do, but they had to act like it was cool and unique and just as exciting every single week. But there were, I don't know, like 10, 20 cabins worth of kids coming in. So lots of excitement on that end. But these actors, writers, producers all have to act like that one celebrity guest and that one musical guest is unique and special and having an experience that is one of one.
This is a genius insight. You're right. It's a singular camp experience for the SNL the guest, and everybody has to rally around and give them the best week of camp possible. Comedy
Their
camp.
entire life.
Yes.
Exactly.
So maybe Lindsay, our special guest, Lindsay Shookus, is like a professional camp counselor who did the best job ever of making sure people felt completely integrated into a culture in 6 days.
I think that's absolutely right. Rachel, she has so many accolades. Do you want to give us a rundown of who Lindsay is and all of the reasons we should be completely in awe of her?
Which I am. So, Lindsay Shookus is our special guest today, as we've teased. And she was a Saturday Night Live producer for, I think, about 2 decades. She runs an organization with her best friend called Women Work Fucking Hard. I met her at one of her events. It was fantastic. She's also a speaker, and you should book her if you want an inspiring speaker. And she's an executive coach. And then also mentioned to us that she has a pretty exciting documentary coming out. A lot on Lindsay's plate. She had really amazing insights. I just thought this was a really special conversation. Here we go. Hi, Lindsay. We are so happy to have you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So you have multiple areas of your life, all of which we want to dive into. You were an SNL producer for many years. You run a fantastic organization with a co-host called Women Work Fucking Hard. The most memorable name. We'll talk about that great event I attended. You are a very prolific speaker, and you're also an executive coach. So there's a lot of wonderful things happening here.
Yes, busy, busy, busy.
Yes. So, okay, let's start with how we met. First, because it's a podcast about connection, I want to thank our mutual one, Kelly Rossi, who put us in touch. She's such a generous connector.
The best. Kelly's the best. And she's, I mean, talk about a prolific connector. Kelly, if Kelly wants to find somebody and meet them, she does it. You know, she's just like, oh yeah. And even if there's not even a simple in or even like a connection on LinkedIn, she'll find you and you'll have coffee with her and you will just be like, I guess this is where I'm supposed to be.
I guess we're friends now.
Yeah.
Yes, here's why I was blown away by Kelly is she was helping you plan the Chicago event, the first one of Women Work Fucking Hard. And we got in touch and she said, who do you think should be in the room? Which is a question I love. So I think I made roughly 17 email introductions and Kelly followed up with every single person to set up a phone call, which I feel like is next level considering she has a full-time job. And then the event was amazing. And Lindsay, I was smitten with you. You got up to speak. And I'm like, this woman has it. I want to know her better. I'm so thrilled you're here today. But let's go back to what originated Women Work Fucking Hard. How did that come to be, this organization that really centers and supports women?
You know, we joke, Kristen and I, my partner, we joke because it wasn't meant to like be this thing that we were going to continue for now. It's we're on 8 years. It was meant to be one night. I had a friend I'd met who was a woman founder. She was trying to grow a business. She was struggling finding clients in New York. And I was sitting with her one day and I just was like, I can help you. Like, this is something that like I know how to do. I know a lot of women who should use your service. And I called Kristen and I said, I want to throw a party. I want to call it Women Work Fucking Hard. And I want to invite 50 interesting women, but not our best friends. I was like, I don't want this to be like a Tupperware party where we're trying to sell something to our friends. Like, I want it to be like, we should cold email some women that we think are cool and let's get them here. And the idea being like heart forward women who want to help others. And you don't necessarily always know, but you kind of get a sense, right? Especially with social media these days. So we had a party one night and everyone came into the room and they kept being like, they kind of looked around and like, what's the catch? You know, like, when are they going to ask us for money? Or, you know, I would say to join a timeshare. And I came up with it that night when I started the toast. I said, the catch is I want you to find 3 women in this room that you haven't met before and figure out a way to help them. And so there was magic. It just felt, everyone the next day was like, well, when's the next event? When are we going to do this again? And we just started kind of saying like, you know, women are incredible in so many ways, but we haven't always been taught to like look out for each other in that way of like, hey, like, where are you getting, you know, where are you shopping, or who are you networking with, or who are you helping? Whose name are you shouting in the room? And what if we all just kind of changed that mindset a tiny bit and became a little bit more aware of it? And we've had tremendous success in helping people rethink how they help women. We call ourselves women who help women help women. That's kind of our thing.
I love it. It's like a twist on the Jerry Maguire.
Yes, exactly.
It's interesting too, because Lindsay, what you're describing is this like permission structure of sort of looking at people in the room and saying, and just for the listener, Lindsay and Rachel are nodding along, and saying like, you make friends now. and here's how. Is that something that just came really naturally to you, or did you learn that from somebody?
I think it just came naturally. I think I credit my mother and my grandmother, who were like so good at helping people. And my grandmother, when I grew up, she always said to me, make a fuss over people. Like, when someone comes in the room, make a fuss. That was what I learned when I was a kid. Put on lipstick. I mean, if I was a kid, like put your hair back, put on lipstick, and make a fuss over people. And she was a really strong woman. And so and my mom was too, or my mom is. So I think it came naturally. I want to point out, though, what you said is important, because I hear that after events, which is, you're giving people permission to go up to strangers. And normally you go to a networking event and you're kind of like, I don't know anyone. And we don't allow, for the most part, we don't allow people to bring plus ones. And because we want people to have to meet people. And so when you say that, the job is to meet people. A lot of people aren't going to know anyone. It gives them permission to go up to them and be like, hey, where do you need help? What do you do? What is lacking in your life that you might need an extra push? And it's just it's not a huge revelatory thing, but it really does make a difference. And we just, like, slowly, person by person, are trying to, like, change that mindset.
This might be a tough one to answer because I'm saying aggregate 8 years into one answer. But having watched a lot of these events unfold and seeing all these different women come into rooms together, is there a secret sauce to developing meaningful connections, or to attending an event and ensuring that you walk away with something more than having had a really good time?
Well, I like to think about our events is that we really think about who's in the room. Like, what you were saying about Kelly reaching out to every single person. By the way, I did the same thing with Chicago. We didn't know anyone. When we walked into that room, it was 112 women. Kristen and I laughed. We knew, except for Kelly, we didn't know anybody, And there was maybe a wife of a friend of mine. So I wanted to make sure that these people were connected to me before I showed up. Like, you need them to show up. So I think it's like, we really curate who's in the room. We really care about finding good, heart-forward women. We go through our list constantly, and if we think someone's not really in the vibe of, like, helping women, we're just like, that's not what we want this year. We're always going through our list and being like, let's shed some names of people who don't feel like they fit the mission, and let's bring in more women who do. So I think the curation's really important. And then I think setting the tone, right? Like, I walk the walk. Like, I mean, I think it's really important to go out there and, like, you have to show them that you're going to be vulnerable, and you're going to put yourself in situations that might be a little uncomfortable or scary. So then they do it as well. So I think also fun. I have to tell you, that's the biggest thing, is, like, we have fun parties. Our parties are really fun. They're not stuffy. They're not name tags. They're, like, chic and fun. And I think that's the secret sauce.
I can attest. It was all of those things.
You've got to have chic and fun.
And as a compliment to you, we got linked up a couple different ways. We both know Lindsay Holden, and then you talked to Tanya Babbage at ABC. I know. Lindsay's the best. Lindsay runs Odell. We went to summer camp together.
Won a big award. I just saw it on Instagram, like, from Target. Incredible.
Yes. I love seeing women thrive, and I know that's the bread and butter of what you do. But you spoke to Tanya Babbage at ABC, and then she brought you up to me and said, Lindsay's incredible. Most people get on the phone and they want to take from you a little bit of, like, advice or perspective, and she gave me so much. So I think that's a real testament to how you show up, is that you want to get on the phone with somebody new and give to them. And maybe that harks back to your SNL days or the coaching business that you're doing now. But let's explore that a little bit. Like, how do you have a new connection and say, let me show up for you, let me give you some wisdom and perspective? Is that innate? Is that a learned skill? Let's dive in.
It's like Kristen and I, we're like, it's like a high. It's like I think it's an addiction of, like, what could be better than when you get to see, like, you connect to people and you get to see them, like, create something, or someone gets a job. Or Kristen's like, my biggest thing is when I get to get somebody else work, like, it fills you. And yeah, my mom and my grandmother were, like, always the people who, like, showed up and help. I think, man, I think that go. I've lost my train of thought. You said what was what? What was the thing that? What was the question?
I'm with you. I think I was backing into this idea that not everybody wants to make a new connection where what they bring to it is, let me help you, let me give you advice and perspective and all this stuff. Like, but you do that.
Well, when I left SNL, I I really was in this place of like, what's next? What am I doing? And I, everyone's always like, oh, let's take meetings. And I wasn't just doing show business meetings. I was doing a lot of meetings with a lot of amazing people, a lot of amazing founders and CEOs. And I started this, someone had given me a new notebook, and I started taking it with me, and I called it my help notebook. And so every meeting I would end with like, where do you need help? And I really made them answer. I like, something like, oh, I don't really know. And you find that women don't know where they need it, or they don't know how to say it as well as men do. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm like, no, you got to say something. It can be you need a therapist or a nanny or an assistant or, a new vitamin, but you have to find something that you need in your life, because we all have needs. And then I would write it down. And I think the power of manifestation, write it down. And then you can always go back to it. You're like, oh wait, who needed an assistant? Oh, I'm hearing of somebody who's looking for a job, and then I would set out to try and figure out how I could help them. And not only does that feel great, but it also then leads to like, more connections and more opportunities. And it's the like age old, like put, good output, good input. And it was revelatory, totally revelatory.
Yeah. And I want to go back to the SNL of it all. Yeah. Because Lindsay, it's going to be hard for me not to super fangirl over this. I do have a series of quick hit questions later in this interview. But
all right, later.
But when we're talking about producing at SNL, you have 6 days with the celebrity host. You're also working really closely with the writers and the actors, sometimes writer actors. How is trust and relationship building sort of going into that? How do you make someone trust you in just 6 days?
By the way, that's what my whole keynote's about, right? That's what I speak about nowadays, is because it's not like there's not a simple answer that I can give you, like the 30-second blurb. I think I go back to like my Buffalo roots, that like I think my Buffalo roots really helped me stay grounded and not so like I wasn't so like, oh, these are celebrities and I have to be around them and they're so cool. Like I really quickly kind of was able to stay centered. By the way, go Bills. I was able to stay centered like around all these people, but I think it's like I got better as I went along. But how do you ask great questions? I mean, by the way, you guys are hosts of a podcast. How do you ask really great questions? And then I think listening is probably one of the best skills that most people aren't that great at. And I became a great listener. And I treated them like they were just people who wanted to be happy, and wanted to succeed and be good. I mean, if you think about it, we all have needs. And even if you're a celebrity or famous and you're going on a Saturday Night Live at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you want to be great. And so like treating them not like they were famous, but like they were people who were just trying to be great, just like you and I, So I think the big thing is like, vulnerability, asking great questions, not being afraid to let your guard down, and finding small relatable doses of something real that you can connect with. The feelings. I always say, get to the feeling. Facts don't really matter, but get to the feeling.
I guess,
you can, if I say the word like I'm disappointed, it doesn't matter who you are. We all understand the feeling. Find me anyone who doesn't understand the feeling of disappointment. So then connect over disappointment, or connect over the feeling, as opposed to like you grew up totally different and you have two totally different passions and you can't think of anything you have in common. Well, you both understand a lot of the same feelings.
Yeah. Lindsay, how is that all playing into what you're doing today with executive coaching?
I mean, it's basically the exact same thing. I'm just not dealing with people who are like, ultra famous and on page 6. I'm basically able to like, I had to do something in 6 days. I had to figure out who they were quickly, what their needs were, what they were great at, and maybe what they weren't great at, and then figure out how to make them good in 6 days, but also make them believe that they could be better in 6 days, which is kind of also a key point, right? You can't just show them how to be good. You have to make them believe that they can do those changes. And so now I just like spend the time getting to know all sorts of different interesting people and lots of different industries, get to know them really quickly, build that trust, get to know their skill set, really figure out what their strengths and weaknesses, and then work with them. Like, it's not just like, I'm not just like a teacher, like, here's what you need to do to get better. It's like, let's work with it together, because there are many ways you can build trust, and how each of you build trust is different than how I build trust. And there's lots of different ways you can do it. So working with them to figure out what's an authentic way that they can get better at, their skill set, their management style, their connection building, and then and help them create a toolbox, basically. It's just not like, it's just not Drake or Lil Wayne. It's like a hedge fund.
Just slightly different.
Yeah, slightly different.
I do. I think you have one of the most interesting careers of anybody I know in real life, as we talked about these different eras and evolutions. So one thing that Jeana and I go back to a lot is how to maintain a really robust network of connections and how to bring people with you. So I have this theory that I call the Hotel California, which is once I like you, you are in forever. You always have a room. You're always welcome in my hotel. If we worked together or we had a friendship or there was some place where our lives intersected and you meant something to me, you are forever in this hotel. I haven't met Drake yet, but like you have. And so I'm curious, like, what does Hotel California look like for you? And how do you bring people from all of these different chapters of your professional life together so that you can continue to stay connected and help each other?
Well, I mean, Women Work Fucking Hard is the ultimate Hotel California, right? Because there's not one industry. It's like in fact, we had been told on numerous occasions that we should make it industry specific, and we reject that because I don't believe I need to be in the same line of work as you to be able to figure out exactly how we can help each other or connect to other people. So it is like all of our events are the ultimate Hotel California. I will say there's one thing which maybe goes slightly against Rachel, what you're saying is like, I've also realized though, I need to really receive the data of what these relationships are. And sometimes in life, we can think we have a great relationship and all of a sudden you start being like, oh, I'm giving a lot, I'm not receiving a lot, or I'm feeling kind of icky when I leave an interaction. And so I do try and to kind of take a moment and start to think of like, I don't just because by the way, my Buffalo roots are like, just once a friend, always a friend. And like, don't change, just be who you are, be good old Lindsay Shookus from Buffalo, New York. But sometimes I'm like, I'm getting better now at being like, I can't put a lot of energy into a place where there's not energy coming back to me, or I don't feel good, or they suck my energy. And so I'm not everyone in my Hotel California stays. Like once in a while, I'm like, you know what? It's time for them. They've overstayed their welcome. And I think I'm getting better at that. I'm 45, and I think it's an important exercise to be like, not everybody has to stay if they don't deserve the room to go back to your eviction notice, baby.
This is powerful because you were even saying, going back to the beginning of this conversation, that for the guest list at the Women Work Fucking Hard events, this will be our record, Jeana, of how many times we say the F word in one podcast.
Yeah. Mark is explicit.
But you almost have a generosity filter and decide, should these people be invited? Are they good givers? Are they heart forward? Which is a phrase that I love. And so it seems like you're doing that in your own life too, is gauging, does somebody deserve to be here? Are they showing up for me with the same generous spirit that I'm showing up for them? I think that's a big sign of maturity, and Rachel from Minnesota struggles with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think, listen, it's never been easy for me because I'm such a people pleaser. And so when I don't know if I would use the word deserve to be in my life or in the circle, because I really don't, when I decide it's not for me, it's not like there's not even really judgment. Some people don't have time. They haven't learned it. They don't, it's not even necessarily like I'm like, oh, screw them. I'm trying to be better about like not, giving energy to places that give energy all over the place. Like where I'm like, oh, this feels good. I'm not feeling, sometimes have you ever like left an interaction and you feel bad, or you're feeling like, I don't know, I kind of like, this has been a person in my life for a long time. And I'm like, oh, I don't really feel good about myself. Like I'm trying to notice those things. I always say like receive that data and be like, maybe I still have to like work with them, professionally, or maybe I have to do a few things with them, but I'm not going to like give them all of me because it's not good for me. And so just trying to really like be aware, be present, to be like, this doesn't feel good, and therefore I don't have to put all my energy into it anymore. I'm trying. The people pleaser part of me is I'd say like partially reformed. Not all the way reformed, but I'm trying to be better about it.
In Radha, the founder of Daybreaker's book, Belong, she describes kind of what you're talking through. Some people would call it chemistry, but she describes it as like an emotional energy, where it's completely relatable that there are some people who just aren't your people. And on paper, you're perfectly great to be friends, but energy give and take is just not there.
Totally. I mean, I said this to my daughter. I'm like, I wish someone had said to me when I was a teenager, like, hey, no matter how much you try and how hard you work, there are going to be people that just aren't for you, or you're not for them. And that's okay, right? Like, the energy that I spent being like, no, let me just put the square peg in a round hole. I'm going to fit. They're going to. And by the way, my job also was like, I had to I had to build this trust, and sometimes it was harder than other times. But in my personal life and now into like my work life and to Women Work Hard, I try and be smarter about being like, maybe it's just not the right fit. That's okay.
Rachel, do you think I can ask kind of a random flyer question here?
Sure. Although, trust me, I'm going to think about what Lindsay said for like the next 6 days.
Okay, so Lindsay, you've been in writer's room. You've been around comedy people, and teasing is strong in that culture. So I'm curious, how do you view the role of teasing in connection and friendship? And is it a part of your sort of toolkit?
Oh, for sure. I mean, even with my fiance, I mean, it's just a huge part of like what we do day in, day out, and my family. And I think it's like, but you have to, what's the underlying thing? Are you trying to be mean? Are you trying to be hurtful? And by the way, we all, even with good intentions, sometimes you miss the mark. And I've learned so much more to be better at being like, hey, I missed that. That was not a good one. I've really learned in the past 10 years to just acknowledge when you screw up, because we're all going to screw up, especially when you're trying to be funny. But yes, of course, like, you see a lot of things in that. I saw a lot of things in 20 years at Saturday Night Live, and a lot of bits in hallways and things that maybe went too far. But I think it's important, right? It's important to like be able to laugh and find joy. I could never be with someone, my partner, my family my great friendships. They're all laughter based.
I think humor is pivotal in connection, and there's something that Jeana and I want to explore based on, was it a New York Times article you sent me about the role of playfulness in creating instant bonds? Mm-hmm. Yes, I think when you can be playful and riff and joke and create your little world with somebody, it's a really opportune way to get closer faster.
Totally.
How did you, I know, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, you're right, and I kind of just said that, but then I also think there's the flip side of it. It's laughter and playfulness, or it's like not being afraid to go there. Like, not being afraid to share something that's maybe a little hard or a little uncomfortable, or you feel like you're letting them in. And I think, because when I think about some of the ultimate connections I made at SNL, they weren't necessarily always in this like, oh, we're joking, we're fun. It was like sometimes, I had hosts coming through who were going through really hard stuff, or were newly pregnant and hadn't told anybody and they were afraid it was going to leak, or were dealing with, a partner who was with addiction, or maybe their addiction, or and so I had to learn to not be afraid to take that step, dip my toe into that water and see if that worked as well.
I love that you went there, because I think that mutual disclosure is such a powerful tool. If you're able to share something deep and personal about your life, and I do the same, and it's received well, and we feel that the other person will hold it sacred, it's a beautiful bonding mechanism. One thing I'm curious about is sometimes when people will disclose really hard things to me, I'm so honored to hear it. And I also take it in a little too much. Like, it can be easy to feel other people's feelings or to sort of sit in that space. So when you had to do this, or even still do this with your executive coaching, this might be a selfish question. How do you hold the space and take in other people's feelings in big life events and make them feel good about it, and also not let that become yours or protect your energy so you're not in it too far? Dr. Lindsay.
10 years of therapy? Do you have time for that? I mean, you know, I really have done the work to like not hold all those things with me every day. You know, like obviously with your own kids and your direct family, it's not as easy to like put those boundaries up. I just had to learn that like I couldn't carry everyone's pain. I mean, I really just like, you know, I remember you know, Sundays after shows, I learned that like, you know, in the first 15 years of my job there, I would always read all the reviews and the ratings and everything on Sunday. And my one day off, I would spend going through and a lot of times with SNL, like the reviews weren't always great on Sundays. People love to hate SNL. And so and there were so many different things you could read. And I would see if like the host was talked about badly, and I would be crushed. On my one day off, I'd be like, oh, I let them down. And I finally had to learn, like, I can't look at reviews on Sunday. I can't even look at the ratings on Sunday because it'll set me up for failure for the day. So I learned to wait till Monday. I was a producer. I had to look at them, but I waited until it was like I was back at the office. I protected my one day of home, me, family time, and so you find your ways to do it. I say to my partner Kristen, she really does carry people's stuff with her, and she's doing the work to try and not now. You know, she's a financial planner, and so she can like, you know, she wants to save everybody, but you know, I'm a big believer in the only person you can save is yourself. Kindness, listen, support, love, but you can't save other people. And so I think that was probably the key in my therapy and through some of the things I've gone through with exes, that I was like, the only person you can save is yourself. So it kind of helps you stay on the path of like, I'll be here, I'll love you, I'll support you, but I can't take it with me every day.
Ooh. Rachel, do you think now is a good time for my rapid fire SNL questions?
Can I just build on something Lindsay said for one second?
I was like, I have so many questions. Go on.
Oh, I know. Lindsay, I appreciate you sharing that. And I am such an advocate for therapy. It's interesting because Jeana and I went to this retreat together, this women's retreat at Miraval. And, you know, it can be a little woo-woo, which I like. And this woman was doing a session with the room, and then she was sort of giving us like really quick snippets of how she saw us. And I'm going to get this a little bit wrong, but I wrote it down afterwards. We were communicating, and she's like, you're a mom. You think too much about your kids' happiness. Just so you know, you're not in charge of it. And I was like, she didn't say it to anybody else, and there were other parents in the room. And I felt so acutely seen and also a little taken aback because as a mom and as somebody who cares about their friends and family members, you do think to a degree that you perhaps own their happiness. And I'm really impressed that your decade-long therapy journey has given you the ability to step away. And I'm feeling pretty inspired by that.
Well, by the way, it's not that you don't feel their pain. You do feel their pain, but you also are just like I keep saying, like, I just want my daughter to figure out like what makes her happy. Like, that's not necessarily, it's not going to be me. I might be part of the happiness. I might be part of the happy memories, but like what fills her cup and what fills my cup might be very different. You know, one of the best pieces of advice, I've ever gotten with parenting, and I think this also goes for like, you know, just any kind of mentorship role or, you know, aunts or uncles, is normalizing feelings normalizing feelings that are not positive. So they're showing them that like you can be disappointed and you can be hurt and mom screwed up today, and let's talk through what mom feels bad right now. Ugh. That sucked. You know, I really hated that. You know, there was one time I come off stage and I was like, Mads, I bombed. You know, I just bombed. And she's like, let's talk about it. So then when Maddie misses a line in her school play, yeah, she's going to feel bummed about it. I can't take that away. But she also knows that like, it's probably kind of normal. Mom did it. So, but it's hard. It's hard not to feel our kids' pain. But yes, I think what that woman said to you at Miraval is true, is like, you know, everyone's responsible for their own happiness, and it's their own journey, and it's going to be high highs, low lows, and somewhere in between, and that's going to be their experience and their evolution as a human being.
So
that's
true.
A departure from the it's fine parenting of generations past.
Right. But by the way, had I not probably gone through my divorce and a lot of kind of hard stuff in my 30s, I probably would have been the it's fine parent. Because that's how I was raised. Just everything's fine. Yeah, I'm fine. You're fine. I mean, I joke about that. And like when my talks of just like, I was I was always fine. I was always fine, no matter what was happening. Don't let them see you sweat. Don't let them in. Just be fine. Be perfect. It's just a load of fucking garbage. I'm sorry. No one's fine.
Fine's not a feeling.
Yeah,
either.
it's not a feeling. It's just like, it's a perception, you know. And it's also, you know, what I learned the most is when I let that go. It's boring. It's boring. People like don't connect with it's fine. They connect with the high highs and the low lows. They'd rather have all the mess than the it's fine.
Okay, now I am going to ask my rapid fire SNL
All right.
questions.
I'm
I
ready.
couldn't wait any longer.
I'm ready.
Okay, jump in with yours too, Rachel. I'm sure you have some. So, Lindsay,
I'm still in feelings, but I'll get there.
Okay,
Yes.
I know. I had to pivot us. I'm sorry. For many, SNL is a dream job or the dream job. Was it that for you?
No. I mean,
Elaborate.
this is rapid fire, so if we need to keep going, but no, it wasn't. No.
Oh, wait, but now I have to hear why.
Yeah, tell us why.
I just
Slow down the
I didn't even-
rapid.
I didn't even know to dream of it. I was from Buffalo, New York. I didn't even know this was a job. Who would have? I thought local news was the highest, you know, echelon of show business. I just didn't even know. So, you know, I loved SNL, but I mean, when I sat down for the interview and they were like, "Here's the job description," I was like, "And you're gonna pay me for this?" I remember my dad being like, even if they say they won't pay you, just take it. Like my dad, literally, I moved to New York. I was gonna, you know, pay $1,000 a month for rent in my 400 square foot apartment, and my dad was just like, just take it. If they say you'll be an intern for free, just do it, you know. And so yeah, I just didn't even know, but you know, it was obviously a life changing job.
Okay, so everybody kind of has their cast, you know,
Yeah.
like the people they fell in love with and grew up with. Like I had the Seth, Tina, Amy weekend update, and Will Ferrell were mine. Like who was the cast you fell in love with?
Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, like that time is when I first started really watching it, you know, as a kid. As an employee at the show, like my people are like Kristen Wiig, Andy Samberg, Jason Sudeikis, Fred. Like those were the people that I always let. Fred Armisen and Will Forte both auditioned for SNL the day that I interviewed at SNL, so we kind of like grew up at the show together. So those are like my peers, you know, who are like who I feel like I'll be connected to for the rest of my life. But it was Chris and Adam and David Spade, that cast, that really just like solidified my love of the show.
Could you quote Opera Man to this day?
Oh my God. I mean, just all of it. Like, think, like, you know, these fries are good. Like, Chris Farley. I mean, I just like the things that, like, and also you think about, we had nothing else to watch, right? If you were not with your friends on Saturday night, you were watching Saturday Night Live.
Appointment
so-
television. And the Hanukkah song, like, still, like, oh.
Yeah.
Growing up as a Jewish kid in Minnesota, the Hanukkah song was everything.
Yes. And I remember like when I was like early at the show, 24 maybe, we had Adam. Adam hadn't done anything on the show. He really until recently. But he came into the Hanukkah song, and it was like such a big deal for me to be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. There were so many pinch me moments my first couple years of the show that I couldn't believe I was a part of.
I hope your daughter one day thinks it's as cool as it is. Like right now, nothing I do is that impressive to my kids, but I'm hoping, like, you actually have the material.
She knows it's cool. I mean, she's really proud of what, and her father worked at SNL for 10 years, and now he's at Seth Meyers, so she knows. She used to go every Saturday. Her dad would bring her, and we'd eat dinner there. And I remember once she like walked into, it was a Christmas show, and Miley Cyrus was the musical guest, and Matt Damon was the host. And she just like walked right into Matt Damon's room and just sat down and like just was like, and then she was like maybe too embarrassed to go see Miley Cyrus because she knew who Miley Cyrus was, but like didn't know who Matt Damon was, and so it was just like walked right in. JJ Watt, the football player, I remember her just like walking to his dressing room, like she had like eating cake, you know. I mean, she kind of felt like she owned the place when she.
I feel like she was the mascot.
Yeah,
She was for a couple years. She really got to like, you know, she'd go and watch all the musical guests rehearse, Taylor and Bruce Springsteen and oh my God, Haim. I just remember all these different musical guests she would get to see. It was really cool.
What a childhood.
What a child.
Okay, Lindsay, what is the hardest you ever laughed there?
Oh my God. a million things, but what I'll say is there's this writer, Paula Pell, who also is an actress on Girls Five Eva, and she just is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. And the bits she would do, and how hard she got Lorne Michaels laughing, and it would be like 1 a.m, and she'd be doing these bits outside the room, and just pee in your pants laughter, like, from that woman. She is a true. I cherish her. She's America's sweetheart in my mind.
I've heard it said that she's sort of like aged into her parts.
Like, by the way, yes, and like she's just the fact that she's going to do so much more now on camera. I mean, no one better deserves it. She deserves every moment of it, and she really. I always say she made Lauren laugh the most, always.
And this gives me a quick segue to my very last SNL related question, because Paula Pell was also on 30 Rock, which you associate produced. Was there any part of that show that felt true to your experience at SNL?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, the nonsense that would happen. I mean, it was just like and I was always the one dealing with nonsense. Like, I have this board here that has all these sticky notes of all these crazy things that have happened to me. And one of them says, like, chasing Christina Aguilera down the hall. Like, I was 23 and she was leaving and she wasn't supposed to. And I was like, Christina, don't leave. And I, like, had no business telling Christina Aguilera she couldn't leave, but I was trying to get her to stay. And, like, so much nonsense. So, yeah, like, all the Tracy Jordan plot lines. I mean, obviously they were like, or like the Dr. Spaceman, they were all kind of taken from nuggets of reality. So, and then, obviously heightened to make funnier. But I mean, that's why the show was so fun to work on, because it really was based in real life moments.
Don't you just wish you could, like, live in Lindsay's memories? I do.
Yes.
Yes.
I know. I'm like, there are
my mind's not that. I'm like, it's not that good anymore. I'm like, if I didn't have the Post-it notes, I'd forget a lot. I actually, like, a lot of my friends and family remember things sometimes better than I do, because there was just so many things, and every week it would be another person, and so you just kind of clear out your head to take on the next person, and so sometimes my friends remember things better than I do.
What if you wrote a book that was SNL memories plus your executive coaching, and you just merge it into one tome?
I think that would be called The 48-Hour Best Friend, which is my talk.
Right? Okay. Right? I love it. Oh.
Yeah. Wait, Rachel,
okay.
Do you want to do our connection conversation?
I do. And we're going to have to weave in there that you also have a documentary coming out. There's just so many things that you touch. You are the multi-hyphenate for sure. Okay. 3 final questions. What is the last connection that you made?
Oh my gosh, I know you asked this. It's like every week there's like, my goal is always to meet 2 women founders a month. So like, I'm constantly meeting people. I'm going to say the one that I'm most proud of, it might not be the most recent, is we had a Women Work Fucking Hard retreat in Mexico this spring. And we brought 15 amazing, diverse group of women together. And the coolest, and introducing all of them, and no one knew anything about each other's careers until they left, and then they Googled and they got to really see it. But they built a reunion. There's a reunion next weekend that me and Kristen did not like. It's not we didn't schedule it. They've done it, and we're having a reunion weekend because of these incredible connections. And like. And they started a book club, and I'm not even in the book club, and there's a book club. So like, so many connections, but that one is really like filling my bucket these days, because it just feels so special, So
that's a gold star. Yes.
Yeah, gold star connection.
Okay. Do you want to go with the next one, Jeana?
Go get it.
Okay, rattling these off. One piece of advice for your younger self about connecting.
I think I would say, connections and like collaborations don't necessarily have to come from the big moments. Like, if I look back at some of the things that have really influenced my life and have really like shaped things I'm doing now, or it's usually stems from something really small, like, you know, a really quick connection that just happened to be like, honestly, this woman who supports us significantly with Women Work Fucking Hard in New York has been doing it for 5 years. I met her for 5 minutes in Cannes, and we had like a really quick, like, slightly vulnerable connection. I followed up on it, and now we are the best of friends. And so sometimes it's like these tiny little things that can really blossom into beautiful collaborations and places in your life. And so don't underestimate small moments.
You just gave me goosebumps because I really do believe that. It's not like when something major is going to happen, you get like a huge tap on the shoulder, like pay attention.
Yeah.
It's often very subtle and only visible in retrospect.
Yeah, you think you need to see fireworks, and it's like, no. The biggest things have never been the fireworks. You know, it's almost kind of like dating. Sometimes you can be like, the fireworks, you know, they kind of fizzle out, and you're like the things that, like, oh wait, like my fiance, it was like I wouldn't have ever told you the first, you know, few dates that this was going to be my person, and yet, you know, it's the small moments.
I was going to take it to dating because someone once told me you just want it to be easy. And I was like, no. You want drama and tumult and excitement and butterflies. And like, no. Look for easy.
Okay,
and
we're going to have to come back. Come back for the dating version. That's number 2. Because, I mean, yes, learned a ton about dating. But yes, I agree with you. Easy, fun, curious. I'd say curiosity is a huge one for me when it comes to like love and partnership. But yeah, it should be easy, and yet we get adjusted to thinking it's the excitement of drama, and it's like, oh no, it can be exciting but easy.
Yes, this should be a part 2. Jeana and I love a good dating story.
Yeah.
Yes, but I met my husband at summer camp at 15, and then it took another 14 years to figure out we should be a couple because it was so easy because he was calm and normal.
Yeah, and you're like, wait a second. But that's a maturity, too, to understand, like, oh, I've had this other stuff, and you're like, is that really what again, energy, like, what do I feel, you know? Like, I always say, like, going back to dating, like, receiving the data. Like, if I could go back and say, 16-year-old Lindsay, receive the data of what these boys are telling you. Like, don't make it about you, just receive what they're telling you something, so receive it.
I think receive the data is a post-it on my wall coming later today.
Honestly,
it's just 3 good words.
Receive the data. Receive
Yes.
the data, right? Don't you think you could tell yourself that? Like, even friendships when you were a kid, like, these people are telling you something, so receive it. Don't make excuses for them. Don't pretend it didn't happen. Receive it.
Yes, I think you distilled down one of my favorite quotes, the Maya Angelou quote, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time.
Oh, amen.
Right?
Amen.
And you're right. We all ignore that. Like, people give off very clearly what they're about and who they are, and it's just whether you're willing to view it or not.
Yep, agreed.
I wasn't. Okay, last question. This is going to be tough because you've met everybody. Somebody you have not connected with that you want to, a dream connection.
Oh my God, I have a million dream connections. I would say, mine are usually like a little bit more nerdy. Like, I recently found out that one of the co-founders of Canva is a woman named Melanie Perkins, and I was like, oh my God, Canva was co-created by a woman, and I was like, oh, I want to meet her. I recently saw the off-Broadway show Joy, you know, the story of Joy Mangano, and by Betsy Wilf's the lead, and you know, the woman who made the Miracle Mop.
Yes.
And I'm like, I would love to have lunch with Joy, and Betsy Wilf too. I'd love to have. That's my dream lunch. Joy, Betsy, me. Done. Let's do it.
I think this feels attainable. I do.
Yeah, I think you could do it for sure.
Okay, we should just say, we should do one thing, Lindsay, how can we help you? What should we put in our help notebook?
And where can people find you to help you?
Where can people
Yes.
My website will be launched soon. Not yet, but I've been working on it finally. LindsayShookus.com. So soon, check that out. And on Instagram, Shookus is my Instagram, and I actually like go through messages because I like that. Now that people don't say terrible things about me, I actually find that I don't mind it.
Great.
There was a time where I didn't do that so much. Where can you help me? I think, putting out, you said, Rachel, coaching clients. I'm open for 1 to 2 new clients and speaking engagements and potential partnership in producing. So think of me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll think of you always.
We will receive the data and think of you.
Thank you. Lindsay,
Well,
thank
this
you
was fun,
so
guys.
much.
Thank
I'm going
you
to
so
consider
much
you
for
my new
having me.
friend.
We're in Hotel California, baby, right?
You have a room now
I have a room. I hope it's a big room with a
with a
chandelier.
view.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good
Thanks
one.
so much.
Rachel, I think I'm obsessed with Lindsay.
Oh, I officially am as well. She was wonderful.
Should we make a list of the things we love about her? Maybe 2 things total per person. You go first.
Okay, 2 things. I wish more people talked about their dating history because I think that we underestimate how it informs our life view. So I love that. And number 2, I love that she brought up therapy. And I'm going to add a third, heart forward women. Oh, I'm borrowing that. But you can just tell that she surrounds herself with really wonderful people. And that was a true effort.
Okay, I like that she's from Buffalo. I know.
Geography.
At this moment, I have a few people in my life who are from Buffalo, and all of them kind of have that sort of like salt of the earth, but also like you trust them implicitly. She's given that vibe. I just enjoyed her general like no nonsense, but also like emotionally aware approach to being a human being in this world. I also didn't get the sense that she was overly tired. So I like that at this point in her life, maybe she's prioritizing rest, but who knows?
Yes. I hope we can hang out with her again in real life.
Same. I will buy her a drink. Rachel, should we do show and tell?
Yes. Do you want to dive in first since I kind of already scooped what you're going to talk about?
Well, you didn't scoop it that much. It's a little in line with the sketch comedy and improv vibe of those 2 decades of Lindsay Shookus's career at SNL. But there was a piece in the New York Times. I will link it in the show notes. I'll actually see if I can do the gift link so that readers who aren't subscribed can have it as my gift. But it is a piece that's basically about small talk and how there's a difference between small talk that is just like, how's the day? How are you? And small talk that actually builds something, this kind of shared reality small talk, which is very improv-y and jokey. And so that would be sort of like, Rachel, if you and I were having a very initial conversation and I said something about the shape of a cloud and you said it reminded me of your grandma's dog, and we just kind of riffed off of each other for a few minutes, that sort of a small talk conversation is more connective, is what this article argues. And I love it.
I was so happy when you sent that to me because basically we just spend all week sending each other articles.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. But this playful world building where you and another person are both game to do a version of improv, which is yes and each person's idea and contribution matters, and then it ladders up to the next thing, and pretty soon you're locked in mutual amusement, and you feel like you've created this space where the 2 of you are in on something, and it's a great joke or a cute little secret or something that just feels like your shtick. And so I think it's a great idea when you're meeting somebody new to try to move beyond pleasantries and see if you can be playful.
Mm-hmm. At SNL, they might call this hallway bits, bits you see in the hallway.
It almost feels like friendship flirting.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
I didn't want to like drop a romantic label on it, but I think that's what good flirting is sort of expressing I'm interested in you and I want to go back and forth with you and be a little cheeky and fun and see where it goes.
Let's be kind of cheeky.
Friend flirty.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, Rachel, what did you bring?
My show and tell is not flirty. It's about my math teacher.
Go on.
So to go backwards, I think there was a different New York Times. We are not sponsored by the New York Times, but let's just say it would be a dream. And I think I sent you a different New York Times story about people who sent very belated thank you notes to really pivotal people in their lives. Did we talk about this already?
We sure did, yes.
Yes. Okay. My memory, not great.
No, don't worry. Because they're, like as we gain momentum with our millions and millions of listeners, they may not have caught the last episode. So it's important that you catch them up.
Okay. So there is an article in the Times about the power of going back years even to people who played an outsized role in your life and thanking them later. And they gave a really cute example about, I think, a woman sending her old violin teacher a note saying that she really appreciated how this violin teacher recognized her limitations, didn't harp on them, made her feel good, showed up for her, just some like really sweet, thoughtful things. And then, no surprise, the people who received the thank you notes felt incredible. Like this blast from the past moment, this recognition, this feeling like, oh my gosh, I left fingerprints on someone's life in the best way. So naturally, I started to think, who should I send a thank you note to? And then there were a couple signs that pointed me in a direction. I saw on Facebook a girl that I went to high school with, also named Rachel, wrote a really, really sweet post about a high school teacher we had and how much he changed her life. And she went into great detail about how he understood the kind of person she was, and he let her do this year-long thesis on music. He helped her go on a study abroad program to Japan. She just gave Mr. It's almost like we had different high school experiences, but somehow he had this very, very powerful role in her high school experience. And she's like, Mr. Murphy, you're the best. Happy birthday. And I thought, that's so sweet. The person who did that for me in high school was Mrs. Erkey, who was my junior year calculus teacher. And to set the stage, I should not have been in AP calculus as a junior. My math ability had tapered far earlier, but I was stuck on this math track. And so junior year, I walk into this class and just immediately, pit of stomach, knew this is not going to be my year. It was so hard from the jump. And Mrs. Erkey was the best teacher. She was incredibly enthusiastic. She was high energy. She made me feel like I could do it, even though I couldn't. She would stay after class with me. She just cheerleaded me through the entire year. And actually, the class was really supportive because it became like everybody's quest. I had not one, not two. I had 3 different tutors. My mind could not grasp calculus, and I had never, ever worked harder. And so I went on this all-year quest to pass the AP test to get the college credit. Spoiler, I did not.
Oh.
But by the time I took it in college, I was so well prepared that college calc was comparatively breezy. But I just felt like Mrs. Erkey really, really showed up for me. And she could have been like, Rachel's not going to get this. I'm going to put my energy towards the kids who will pass the test. But that wasn't her. So I was like, how can I find her? It's been 30 years. So I pulled out my high school yearbook from junior year. This is crazy. And I opened the first page, and I'll send you this text. The first page, a giant message, is from Mrs. Erkey saying that I inspire her and that I'm a joy and that I will be as successful as I want to be because I have the desire to do it. So then I get all emotional thinking, what a sign that she sent this message to me all those years ago and I want to send a message back to her. So I'm on my quest. It looks like she runs a clothing boutique with her daughter in Rochester, Michigan.
That's so cute.
I hope it's still open.
Michigan?
I'm sorry, in Minnesota.
Oh, it was
There's a Rochester in both
you.
places.
Okay.
So I sent it to the boutique's email address in Rochester, Minnesota last week. Haven't heard back yet. Might call the store. Not sure how far to go with this.
Yeah.
But I really decided that I want her to know how much I appreciated her. And so I'm on my connection show and tell mission.
Call her.
Hi, Mrs. Erkey. It's Rachel Gilman from junior year.
Do you remember
the one who was so bad at calc?
You know what? I would bet, Rachel, that her memory of the experience was a little rosier than this. I bet she remembers a young, gifted woman who tried really hard and used every resource available to her. Because if you think about it, like you were saying, yes, she could have dedicated all her time to someone who would pass the test for sure, but not everybody would put in the effort. So I think like you're a teacher's dream. Like you're there trying. Come on.
Wait, did I tell you what happened at my high school reunion? That conversation I had about this math class?
No, tell me.
Apparently this math class really left an imprint on my life. But, okay, so this was my 20-year high school reunion, which means how many years ago was that? 5? Oh, I feel so old. Anyways, I went back to Minnesota for my 20-year reunion. I love nostalgia. I love seeing old faces. I was really in for it. And my friend had like a pre-gathering at her house, and we're all catching up over drinks. And there's a guy there named Chad, who I was friends with in high school, who was very good at math. This was not a hard class for Chad. And anyways, Chad got married on the younger side, had kids on the younger side. So by the time we're chatting, his kids are in high school, which is
my
surreal.
God. Yeah.
Yes. And he goes, so you know what's crazy is like I use you as a parenting lesson. And I go, huh, what do you mean? And he's like, do you remember Calc and like how hard it was for you and how many tutors you had and like how much time you put in and how hard you worked? And I was like, yes, I do. I didn't realize anybody else remembered that. He goes, no. I tell my kids there was this girl, Rachel. It was really hard for her, but she didn't give up. She kept trying. She did everything she could. And that's how hard you should work. You should be like Rachel in Calc class. And I, no surprise, got emotional. And I couldn't believe that something that for me felt like a year-long visible failure, and everybody in the class, as much as they were being supportive, was watching me not flourish, actually landed in such a way that Chad many years later wanted to say, that's what you do when something's not easy for you. You just dig in.
Yeah, you try. And sometimes you can quit, but not in high school. Not in high school.
I have many failings. One of them is being stubborn and competitive, and I just felt like I was too far in to give up. I don't think I got a terrible grade in the class because she felt badly. It was just really humbling to not pass the ultimate test. But life lesson.
Never give up.
Let your work ethic always come in. How do I say this? Let your work ethic outrank your talent and ability.
And let your conscience be your guide.
I kind of want to pull the real world back in, but we've moved very far from that.
Yeah. I mean, was it 9 strangers or 7 strangers on the Real World? Do you remember?
9 seems like a lot. Maybe it was
9
7
seems
strangers.
like a ton of people in a house. Because I know it was an odd number because they always had either an odd number of boys in the house or an odd number of girls in the house. And whatever direction it went, it always caused drama.
My kids are never going to know what the real world is. There's so many things that were
they're gonna know
cultural
what Love Island
touchstones
is.
for us. Hopefully not that either. They'll know the Summer I Turned Pretty and K-pop Demon Hunters.
I will tell you that Love Island is actually kind of a delightful show because they all make friends along the way. They sleep in this like big dormitory and they all say goodnight to each other, and it's at the end of it, like, sure, some of them have love and have made out with several boys and coupled up, but the actual takeaway is they're all like best friends.
Okay, I'm going to put a bow on this. I've never seen the show, which I know everybody else has, but it kind of sounds to me like what we started with, that you can create strong connections in environments where you spend a ton of time together and people's walls come down.
And don't know what time it is and don't have a phone. Well, this has been an episode of The Connection Code.
Sequester for friendship.
Yeah, that's what I want in my life. But this podcast is about friends, connections, and everything in between. And this is a production of 2 Connections, Rachel Gilman-Rischel and Jeana Anderson Cohen. Thank you to all of you for listening. Thank you to Lindsay Shookus for being our very special guest today and really indulging our comedy fantasies. And thank you to Ben for editing the podcast. Ben Cleaver, thanks. For all of you who are listening, if you have a question, if you have a guest request, or if you just want to say hello, you can shoot Rachel or me a DM on LinkedIn or Instagram. It's both our full names, Rachel Gilman-Rischel and Jeana Anderson Cohen. Bye-bye.
Bye.